Welcome to the soft tissue portion of our warm-up routine and sequence. We're going to show you this wonderful tool, the foam roller, and how to best utilize it. Now, I like a foam roller personally that has projections and grids on it, like this one, because we know that fascia comes from all directions, and we want to hit it in every direction with lateral force, sagittal force, transverse force, and this allows me to do that. If you have just a regular styrofoam foam roller, that's great. If you have a super spiky one, I would just be a little careful, because if you feel too much pain while you're rolling, the body won't accept it as well. You want kind of a slight discomfort, but if you're making a lot of faces, if you're holding your breath, your body won't receive the soft tissue relaxation as well. So just kind of find your comfort. This is the grid by trigger point, and I think it has a nice combination of the projections and a softness to it that pretty much everybody can benefit from. Another thing to remember when we're foam rolling is it's not a substitute for a massage therapist. I see people sit on this thing for half an hour. It's a great tool to mobilize fascia, the lymphatic system, increase elasticity to increase mobility, but that's as far as it's going to go. It doesn't substitute for a deep tissue massage. So for each of one of these rolling sequences, we're going to only do it about 30 or 40 seconds in reality, no more than that, just enough to get a little relaxation and get to your workout and get sweating. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'll probably move a little quicker through it, just so we can get through it in a timely manner. So the first thing we're going to foam roll here is the gastroc. So that's the calf here from the top where it inserts into the knee all the way into the soleus right here. And when you're foam rolling, you want to have a really relaxed toe here. You don't want any undue tension on that calf. I'm just going to have Peter go slowly back and forth. Now, depending on your footfall, you might feel some tension in the tibialis right here, in the outer part of the calf. And then you also want to check if you have any tension, the medial part as well. And with all these exercises, if you do feel certain tension, like almost a hot spot, feel free to just stay on that spot, breathe into it until it relaxes about 50%, and then you can move on. And this alone will make your ankle a lot more, give it a lot more spring, so that when you're running, jumping, doing your plyometrics, you'll actually have a lot more jump in height and reactivity immediately, especially after rolling that soleus right at the base of the teardrop, right there. Okay, so after that, we'll move on to the hamstring. Now, everybody tells me that they have a tight hamstring, but in reality, our hamstrings are overstretched and lock long. And for a lock long muscle, we don't want to go with it, we kind of want to go against the grain. So I'm having Peter just shear back and forth using these projections of the grid. This won't feel painful, just kind of feels like a gentle massage on the hamstring, but it will help your hip hinge mobility when you get into that exercise. After that, Peter, go ahead and sit right on the roller, and we're going to get into the glutes now. So crossing the right leg over, leaning into that right hip, right into the back pocket and the apex of the glute. This is glute max work. Great thing about this too is it's going to open up the rotation of your hip for your squats and any kind of external hip rotation opener. Easy back and forth. And now I want Peter to get into the gluteus medius, which is really important knee stabilizer. So I want to take away the tension on the roller. I don't want this locked tight, so I'm just going to have him relax the hip and go right to almost the top of the lower back on the right side, and back down. Feeling very relaxed here in that hip. This muscle gets overworked because it keeps the knee from valgusing, and this is a really, really important one to get because it's constantly under tension when we're walking, running, moving. That's great, up and down there. Okay, now we'll flip over, get into the anterior section of the body. So now we're going to foam roll the quadriceps here. And I see people put both feet on this all the time. I don't like that because you can't get all the different lateralis muscles as if you only do it on one side. So Peter's left knee is out, so all his weight is on that quad, and now he can really get out the sides and the front. I'm not going to have him go into his IT band. And I want to make a really important point here that I see everybody, the first thing they do when they go to the gym is foam roll their IT band. This is a dense fascial connection that doesn't need to be rolled. And if you have IT band syndrome, it's not because your IT band is the problem. It's coming from a different part of the chain, and just rolling it is not going to help. So we'll talk a little bit more about how to prevent and help IT band syndrome. In fact, Peter's done some great work with his own IT band with the exercise we'll do later. But I just want to make that point that we're going to stick to the quad and not go to the side. Okay, and the last really important muscle of this hip complex is something called the tensor fasciis longus, the TFL. So I'll have Peter come right here now. This is a really small, really important muscle to get. If you find your hip bone right here in the front, if you just go right below it, you'll find the TFL. And the TFL is a tensor for a reason, because it works really hard to keep the hip rotated if the glute isn't really doing its job, if the glute's kind of turned off. And a lot of our glutes are turned off because of our tight hips. So what rolling this TFL is going to do is relax the IT band, because it connects to the IT band, which connects to the knee, and it'll really help you prevent that IT band syndrome by relaxing that particular muscle so that the glute medius and maximus can do their job. So again, this is a key part before you do any bridges, before you do any glute work, to relax that TFL. And Peter's doing great. And I'm even going to have you immediately rotate a little bit right under that hip bone. And you're just kind of, when you get into it, I really want you to kind of grind it out. So kind of quick, short strokes right there. Perfect. And after this, you'll even walk differently. You'll feel your glute be able to fire better. Okay, so that's the lower body. Now I want to move into the upper body here. The first place we're going to foam roll is the thoracic spine. And I want to make another really important point here. Now, when we're foam rolling and when we're warming up in general, we want stable parts of our body and we want mobile parts of our body. Another spot I see people foam roll is their lower back, because, right, everyone's lower back is tight and in pain. But really, that's just Advil on a problem. The problem with the lower back is that it's taking forces and twists because it's trying to mobilize, because the joints above it, like the T-spine, and below it, like the hips, are actually super tight. So it's trying to over-rotate, it's trying to overwork and take the brunt. So what we want to do is mobilize the thoracic spine and shoulders and the hips so that the back doesn't have to work as hard. So when we foam roll, we're only going to foam roll top of the neck here to mid-back, right under those scapula wings, right here. So I'll have Peter put his hands, and this feels great. Immediately you're going to feel relief with this rolling sequence. Now I'm going to have Peter arch and extend his back. And again, because I don't want to mobilize this lower back, Peter does a great job of this, we're not going to stick our ribs out too much. I'm going to have Peter do this the wrong way, where he's going to arch his back and extend as much as he can. So you can just see the amount of torque that's going in his lower back. Doesn't feel too good, right, Peter? Right there. So the key adjustment we're going to make is bring those ribs in and think of that mid-back as the new shelf of extension. So extend a little bit here, Peter. That's all I need. Right there. Ribs are in, and he's opening his chest slightly. Nice and smooth, up and down. That's great. Deep breaths, opening the shoulders. This is a posture saver right here. Okay, so a key point I want to make about posture is that the thoracic spine is important to extend, but it only extends as far as the shoulders will take it. So for this next section, I'm going to have Peter stand up. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to fascially work on the shoulder complex so that the neck and shoulders sit back easier, so your base of support is right under you, and you get that, and you don't have pain in your neck. All right, so now we're going to talk about the shoulder girdle and the scapulohumeral rhythm here. And this is a common cause of pain, males and females, because of technology. We know that when we use that technology, our heads tend to come forward and our shoulders tend to come forward. So I hear a lot of people complain about pain through the traps, upper and lower, and cervical spine area. That's due to these muscles being locked long, not they're tight. not that they're tight. So everyone who tells me I have a tight neck and tight back, that's not true. You have a locked, long, and overstretched neck and upper back that needs to be pulled back in its natural physiological position. So the two biggest culprits of pulling the body in that forward position are the tightness in the pec and in the serratus anterior right here, which is if you just go down your latissimus dorsi here, it's just anterior of that, basically going along the lat to about the mid-rib cage here, up and down. We'll do this one lying down, which I'll show you in a moment how to roll this out. And we'll use this, for this we'll use a ball, a trigger point therapy tool that's going to relax this fascia. And I just want to show you that when this is pulled tight, you'll see if this is locked, it's going to basically inhibit the shoulder from externally rotating. At the same time, the serratus does its job here of getting locked here to pull down. So all those overhead presses we like to do, to just get that range, you've actually got to push through a lot of breaks and a lot of tightness around that fascia, versus if you can get it more elastic, it's going to be much easier to rotate your shoulder for any kind of overhead work, any kind of pull work, but best of all, it's going to help you in life because it'll be easier for you to have those shoulders sit back, and then that cervical spine and head follows with it, eventually leading to an amelioration of that back and neck pain. So the first thing we'll do is the trigger point therapy ball. So just like the foam roller, this is a great tool because this ball has little projections in it, so not any part of it is exactly the same. So different spots have kind of tighter, more acute projections, and different spots are softer. So it gives you a nice kind of rounded feel. So I'm going to have Peter put this right on his pec major here, basically in line with his armpit where it inserts into the pec. He's going to put pressure on the ball, reach his arms up to open up the shoulder, and importantly here, he's not just going to roll the ball around, he's pressing it into his pec, and he's literally moving the fascia and soft tissue around, up and down, side to side, any way he wants. Basically, like I said before, the fascia doesn't cross linearly. It has many different insertions and projections. Circles, there's no wrong movement here, but you're just trying to create separation and elasticity in that pec. You can play around with it, go a little bit higher, just like Peter did. If you feel tension there, you can move a little bit lower, closer to the nipple. Now, women can do this as well. You just might not go quite as low, but you still want to work closer to the base of that pec as far as you're comfortable doing it. All right, you want to spend, again, about a minute, 45 seconds on each side. And then, once this is relaxed and the shoulder can go back, we'll work on the serratus back on the floor with the foam roller. So now we're going to focus on rolling the serratus anterior, which we talked about was a big part of pulling that shoulder into internal rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the armpit here with the palm up to open up that fascia, and we're going to roll from the armpit all the way into the lat insertion, right about mid-rib, and then going to come back. Feel free to move back and forth a little bit, medially and laterally, finding any hot spots or tight spots that feel sensitive. I guarantee you'll find a lot of them here, keeping that shoulder open and exposing that serratus.